Greetings, my beautiful lovelies. It's Emmy. How are you? It's great to see you and welcome back. Today's video is sponsored by HelloFresh, which brings you fresh, pre-portioned ingredients right to your doorstep so you can prepare a meal in about 30 minutes. HelloFresh has a ton of recipes. It's a great way to get out of recipe ruts, try new ingredients, and it saves you a ton of time. And pre-portioned ingredients means there's less food waste and less prep. HelloFresh saves you trips to the grocery store. Your food arrives right at your doorstep, and all the packaging is almost entirely recyclable or made from recycled content. HelloFresh is super flexible. You can change your delivery dates, your meal plans, and even skip a week if you like. There are options like low-cal, smart carb, pescatarian, and vegetarian. This week, my family's favorite meal was the tomato tortelloni bake. So if you'd like to try HelloFresh for yourself, head over to HelloFresh.com and use my code emmymade12 to receive 12 free meals, including free shipping. Big thanks to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video and for their continued support. Now today, I'm going to be making a little potato dish that is inspired by McDonald's. I'm going to be making McDonald's style hash browns at home. Hash browns. I remember as a kid, as a treat, we would sometimes get McDonald's breakfast, and the hash browns were one of my favorite parts of that entire meal. The crispy outside and just eating it out of that little sleeve, so stinking great. Or sometimes putting it in the actual sandwich and eating it all together. Yes. So I have the YouTube algorithm to thank for today's inspiration. I'm going to be using Malmasa's or Delicious Days channel recipe. I'll put a link down below to the original, and it looks absolutely delicious and relatively simple to make. So let's go ahead and do this. So a little while back, I made McDonald's style French fries at home. I'll put a link down below in case you missed that video. And that recipe came from McMenu, which was written by a former employee of McDonald's and has very detailed directions on how to make McDonald's style food, including French fries. And I looked in that recipe collection for hash browns, and they actually said to buy the frozen Ore-Ida variety because they're too difficult to make, which I completely understand. There might be some industrial machinations that make this more challenging, but Delicious Days recipe looks so delicious that I'm going to be trying it anyways, because fried potatoes, it's hard to go wrong with that. To start off, we're going to need some potatoes, and I'm going to be using a combination of russet and Yukon Gold in 1-to-1 ratio. So, whoa! I will put a link down below to a printable version of this recipe, or you can visit my website to find it there as well. We're going to peel our potatoes. McDonald's have a special variety of potato they use for their French fries, and I imagine the same would be said of their hash browns, because I was not able to find the particular style of potato to use for this recipe. But I'm combining a starchy potato, which is found in the russets, and a Yukon Gold, which are waxier. They're not as starchy. So we'll get that kind of combination of starch and waxiness, which I am imagining is going to help us with retaining the shape of the hash brown. Because once we chop these up into little bits, we need it to stick together and kind of hold its shape rather than falling apart. If you don't have both potatoes, I think russets will be just fine. I'm also going to go ahead and remove these eyes so that our hash browns don't have any dark bits in them. So just using my de-iyer, what do you call that? Eye remover? That sounds terrible. I'm just going to scoop out these little bits right here. If you are short on time, you can skip this step, or you really don't care, then that's fine too. It's not going to change the flavor of the potatoes at all doing this. It's just more of an aesthetic thing, you know? All right, I'm going to give these a quick rinse and put all of the peels in my compost bucket. Do you compost? I love composting. I find it so satisfying not letting my food scraps go to waste. It makes beautiful soil. It does take some time. We don't have a very technical method in our yard. We have a big pile. We add lots of leaves to it. My husband very kindly turns everything. If you don't have a lot of space, then you can try vermicomposting, which is using composting worms. Really cool. You can even do that inside your house. I've done it. Super cool. And composting is great. And a lot of people, I think the number one question I get when I post composting bits on my Insta stories is, does it smell? And it does not. And it's because my husband turns it. It's also because it's just decomposing into soil. So it's not an issue, the smell. I think the second most popular question is, do I get pests? And I'm sure I get squirrels and raccoons and things going through it. But we are blessed with having enough space that it's not near our house. And I really don't mind having the animals root through it and get little tasty bits of strawberry tops, potato peelings. I don't mind it. So we're going to chop them and then place the chopped bits into a strainer. Remember, this is a very specific style of hash browns. This is like the ovoid puck that's deeply fried and nicely crispy and golden. It's not the kind of griddle variety that's made with shredded potatoes. So cut these into little sticks. And rotate the board here. Chop these into little bits. I have my potatoes all chopped up, and now we are going to rinse them with plenty of water. Now, Delicious Day says this is important because it will remove excess starch and make for a crisper hash brown. So after we've rinsed the potatoes, I'm going to thoroughly drain them of the excess water. Now I've got a skillet. I'm going to put it on medium high heat and add some oil, a couple tablespoons. I'm going to cook these on medium heat for 5 to 10 minutes until they are mostly cooked, but we don't want them to get any color. We're not frying them, we're just cooking them initially so that we don't have any raw bits in our hash brown. We don't want any raw bits in our hash browns. Now we're going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. It's been about 6 minutes and the potatoes are ready. If you taste one, they are tender, but not mushy. So turn off the heat and transfer them to a bowl. To the hot spuds, we're going to add 6 tablespoons of cornstarch. Now we're going to mix this all together until it binds together to make a potato paste. We're basically making a dough here. We want this mixture to hold its shape because we're going to be frying it. This might do it. Let's see. Yeah. So I'm going to take about 2/3 of this potato mixture and place it on some parchment paper. I'm reserving 1/3 of it because I'm going to try a cheese stuffed version of this. So get it kind of into a rough patty. Cover that with a piece of plastic wrap and then use a rolling pin to flatten it out. And these are about 1/2 inch thick. Dun, 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 dun. I'm going to clean up the edges and then cut this into thirds. Spatula and scoop it up. And to make it more like the hash brown shape, we're just going to round the corners out. And there we have it. That's so great. I'm going to add these little bits back to the bowl with the other potatoes. And now let's make a cheese version. But this time, we're going to roll it out a little bit thinner. About 1/4 inch, because we're going to combine 2 halves together. So inside of these hash browns, I'm going to add some mozzarella cheese for that great cheese pull effect. And I'm just using sliced mozzarella cheese. Use any cheese you like. So I'm doubling up the cheese layer there. And now we're going to take 1 piece of the potato and place it right on top of the other. Then press so that the 2 halves can adhere together. And then of course we have to round out the corners. Alrighty, so I've got my skillet here with about a ½ inch of vegetable oil heating up on medium-high heat, and I've got it to about 325 degrees. We can check by using a little bit of potato and dropping it in there, and it immediately sizzles up. Now we're gently going to add our potatoes to the oil. And we've got that beautiful sizzle. These are the regular potatoes, no cheese. Move them over a little bit so they don't stick to the bottom of the pan. And this one right here is our cheese one, so we'll add that in there as well. Okay, these are frying beautifully. It smells like French fries. Oh, I'm so excited about this. So ever so gently give it a flip. Be gentle with these, we don't want them to crumble apart. Okay, so I think we're getting close here. Look at that. Perfection, perfection. Drain these onto a rack that's lined with paper towels. Oh my gosh, look at that. Look at that. That's perfection. Oh my gosh, I'm excited about this. Oh my goodness, lovelies, look at these. These look absolutely perfect. I'm so happy with how these turned out. Golden brown, perfectly shaped. They look absolutely delicious. Now for the moment of truth, we shall taste them. I'm so happy with how these look. So stinking great. Gorgeous, golden brown, beautiful. Listen to how crispy these are. Itadakimasu. Delicious. Perfect amount of seasoning, nicely salted, crisp on the outside, creamy in the middle. I actually like the homemade ones slightly better than the McDonald's version, if that's possible. The potatoes are creamier. Look inside. Hot and steamy and creamy and soft and tender, and have a wonderful potato flavor. Perfect amount of salt. So stinking delicious. I really like the buttery, creamy texture of these potatoes on the inside. Granted, these just came out of the fryer. They're so stinking hot and delicious. So sometimes that's the issue with French fries or hash browns. They've just been sitting too long. These, though, are wonderful. I did read that, like the McDonald's French fries, the McDonald's hash browns also contain some beef tallow, so it has a beefy flavor to them. I didn't notice any kind of difference when I tasted these. Let's try the cheese version. Oh my gosh. Wow. Amazing. Alrighty, let's give this a taste. Wait, let's give this side a taste. That's where the cheese is. Here we go. That is delicious. And that's surprising because I actually am not a huge cheese lover. I don't like everything covered in cheese. I do like cheese, but not gobbed on over. But this combination is delicious. The mozzarella has a very delicate flavor. It pairs perfectly with the potato, and that cheese pull is so much fun. It's not overly salty. It's the perfect balance of cheese and deep fried potato goodness. Alrighty, my lovelies, there you have it. That's how you can make homemade McDonald's style hash browns at home. It's actually relatively simple. It's just about getting the right technique. I think the most time consuming part about this recipe is chopping up the potatoes, but well worth it in my opinion. And the cheese ones are definitely worth trying as well. Alrighty, thanks so much for joining me, and big thanks to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. If you'd like to try HelloFresh for yourself, head over to HelloFresh.com and use my code emmymade12 to receive 12 free meals, including free shipping. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed that one. I hope you learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media, like this video, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Toodaloo, take care, bye. Reporting from Emmy Made's kitchen, these potatoes are absolutely delicious.